So it looked like Caitlyn Clark is being blamed for the epic fail for the WNBA.
Adam Silver just made history, landing Time Magazine's 2025 Athlete of the Year after a fourth MVP and championship run, an achievement that should have been all celebration. But instead, she chose this moment to throw a public shot at Caitlyn Clark, telling Time that for a moment, WNBA history was erased. Not subtle, not accidental. A direct message aimed squarely at the rookie who's already reshaped women's basketball. And then, shockingly, Clark broke her silence, and her response stunned everyone expecting fireworks. What she revealed shows exactly why one player is the future of the league, while the other seems stuck in the past. This isn't just about trophies or MVPs. It's about leadership, legacy, and the very essence of growing the game. Fans have sensed for weeks that something was off in how established players treated Clark during her record-breaking rookie season, and Wilson's interview just proved it. The story behind the headlines matters, and as we dive into every word Wilson said and the timing behind it, you'll see why this moment is bigger than basketball itself. Wilson sat down with Time Magazine for what should have been a moment of pure triumph. Her historic season, dominant performances, fourth MVP, and leading the Las Vegas Aces to another championship all screamed celebration. These are achievements worthy of every accolade, but Wilson couldn't resist taking a shot. She told the interviewer that WNBA history was erased for a minute, words deliberate, pointed, and impossible to ignore. Everyone knew exactly who she was targeting. The timing couldn't have been sharper, coinciding with Caitlyn Clark's meteoric rise during her 2024 rookie season. Think back, Clark broke every attendance record, drew TV ratings the league had never seen, and brought more mainstream attention to women's basketball in a single season than the previous decade combined, changing the game overnight. Arenas that once struggled to fill seats were suddenly selling out weeks in advance. Networks battled for broadcast rights. Sponsors lined up with massive deals. When Wilson says WNBA history was erased for a minute, she isn't speaking about some abstract idea of league legacy. She's referring to Clark's impact, a force so immense it threatened to overshadow everything Wilson and her generation built. And here's the striking truth. Wilson remained completely silent throughout Clark's historic 2024 season. Clark swept Rookie of the Year, unanimously shattered 62 league records, and led the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance in years. She even became the global face of women's basketball, earning Time Magazine's 2024 Athlete of the Year. Every chance Wilson had to publicly congratulate or acknowledge Clark, she chose silence. And that silence spoke volumes. No support when Clark faced threats, hostile crowds, or blatant physical targeting. Wilson, who claims leadership in the league, never used her platform to embrace the rookie who was bringing millions of new fans to the sport. Now she frames it as protecting the league's legacy, but the timing tells a much clearer story. She waited for the moment when her spotlight couldn't be ignored, Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year feature, to drop these comments. It was the perfect stage to downplay Clark's impact while pretending to defend WNBA tradition. Calculated, deliberate, and it spectacularly backfired. Wilson told Time that Clark wasn't a threat because she would keep winning MVPs, gold medals, and stacking an untouchable resume, all while focusing entirely on herself. Even when acknowledging Clark, her words exposed her true mindset. Clark's success was a threat to her legacy, not a win for women's basketball. The article even painted Clark's rise as fueling a toxic, racially divisive narrative, implying she alone was salvaging a league built on the backs of mostly black players. For fans who noticed, this was striking. Wilson's public image of unity and lifting up women clashed sharply with these passive-aggressive digs. Every subtle jab, every coded remark, revealed intent. She was undermining the rookie who had brought unprecedented attention to the league. Wilson had every opportunity to welcome Clark and celebrate the growth of the sport, but she chose a different path, and the contrast couldn't be clearer. Instead, she chose jealousy masked as protecting league history. But the contradiction runs even deeper. Let's connect the dots. In 2024, when Caitlyn Clark dominated headlines, Wilson and several WNBA veterans loudly criticized individual recognition, claiming it was unfair and divisive for one player to command so much attention. Wilson even injected race into the discussion, framing Clark's spotlight as problematic. Sheila Johnson, owner of the Washington Mystics, went on live TV insisting the entire WNBA deserved Time's cover, not just Clark. Wilson positioned herself as the guardian of the league's legacy, insisting that proper credit be given to those who built the foundation, especially Black players, and that Clark's stardom threatened that collective narrative. Now, fast forward, Wilson graces Time's 2025 Athlete of the Year cover, solo, and all those voices railing against individual attention, completely silent. The hypocrisy couldn't be louder. Wilson now stands alone on that magazine cover, basking in her own achievements, with zero pushback from the very voices that criticized Clark for individual recognition just months earlier. Tell us in the comments, does Wilson deserve the spotlight, or does her hypocrisy tarnish her legacy? A league that once preached team-first values and shared credit now elevates Wilson as the singular face of WNBA success. No one demanded her teammates be included. No one called for the Las Vegas Aces to share the stage. No one complained that she was overshadowing other deserving players. Every argument used against Clark vanishes the moment Wilson benefits from the same kind of individual accolades. For many of you, this confirms what you suspected all along. The attacks on Clark were never about fairness or protecting league history. They were rooted in jealousy and fear of being outshined. Wilson and her peers only wanted the spotlight for themselves. And when Clark's rise threatened that, they weaponized complaints about collective recognition. Now that Wilson has her solo cover, those principles disappear entirely, revealing a pattern as clear as day. Wilson's resistance to Clark was never about ideology or defending WNBA values. It was about protecting her own spot at the top. The hypocrisy exposes the real motive from the start. But here's where it gets even more revealing. Why does Wilson feel so threatened by Caitlyn Clark? The numbers tell the story. Clark's rookie season drove revenue the WNBA had never seen. Merchandise sales soared 500%. Her jerseys outsold Wilson's by massive margins, and arenas swelled with fans eager to watch her play. Television ratings made the gap undeniable. Clark's games drew audiences that dwarfed typical WNBA viewership, forcing networks to scramble for broadcast rights. The market spelled out one truth: the future belongs to Clark. Wilson's career is impressive. Multiple MVPs, championships, a legacy cemented over years, but Clark accomplished in one season what took Wilson years to build. Every measurable aspect of the sport: attendance, media attention, merchandise, ratings, tilted in Clark's favor, threatening Wilson's position as the face of women's basketball. Clark's influence reaches beyond the court. Forbes 30 under 30, global brand deals, social media engagement far surpassing Wilson's. She's the athlete who transcends sports, while Wilson remains defined by basketball alone. When you map the timeline, Wilson's jealousy becomes clear. She stayed silent throughout Clark's meteoric rise, and every calculated word now reveals the stakes she feared losing. Historic rookie achievements went largely unacknowledged by Wilson. She only spoke up once Clark began receiving major recognition. Instead of celebrating her own success, Wilson waited for the perfect moment, her Time magazine spotlight, to diminish Clark's accomplishments while elevating her own legacy. Her fear turned her biggest career moment into a weapon against the league's brightest rising star. And then Caitlyn Clark finally broke her silence. After days of speculation, the basketball world held its breath as fans wondered how she would respond. Clark had every right to strike back, to call out hypocrisy, to expose the double standard that let Wilson celebrate individual accolades while criticizing Clark for the same. But she chose a different path. Taking to Instagram, Clark posted a simple yet powerful message. She congratulated Wilson on being named Time's 2025 Athlete of the Year. No drama, no passive-aggressive undertones, no hidden digs, just genuine celebration. Her post highlighted Wilson's incredible season, praising her achievements with nothing but class and sportsmanship. Clark's response spoke volumes about her character, standing in stark contrast to Wilson's attempts to overshadow her. While Wilson used her platform to throw shade, Clark used hers to lift up a player who had spent months undermining her. Wilson turned celebration into controversy. Clark turned controversy into celebration, and the timing immediately following Wilson's widely circulated interview made the gesture all the more powerful. Clark stayed silent at first, letting the controversy swirl, even though she could have let Wilson's words dominate the narrative. Instead, she chose the high road, publicly celebrating a player who had offered her nothing but shade. The character contrast between these two stars couldn't be clearer. Wilson used her Time magazine moment looking backward, guarding her legacy and seeing Clark's rise as a threat. Clark looks forward, focused on growing the game and lifting everyone around her. Her Instagram post showed exactly why fans, sponsors, and the basketball world gravitate toward her. She builds others up instead of tearing them down, creates positive narratives instead of manufacturing drama, and uses her massive platform to elevate women's basketball rather than divide it. She understands something Wilson doesn't. The league grows stronger when all players succeed. Clark's graciousness and vision made her appear as the mature leader rising above petty jealousy, while Wilson came across defensive, insecure, and obsessed with protecting her place. The Time magazine spotlight that Wilson hoped would assert dominance only exposed